Thank you for tuning in to Truth Entertainment. This will be another episode of Tupac Origin Series, Episode 2. If you have missed the introduction episode, Episode 1, it will be in the link below. This chapter will be called A Spark, a Battery in Your Back. Creative differences. One day on Budweiser tour, after a heated argument with the label management and Todd against me. I wanted to do a booked show in Florida where fans were expecting us versus a bigger show in Atlanta where we weren't headliners and MC Hammer was also on the show. The label could not confirm if we would go on after Hammer or not. The argument got very heated as they all ganged up on me. It reminded me I was only the choreographer and not in a position to running anything. I stood my ground and never backed down. I was out of options. We all knew at the time Hammer was making a lot of noise and that he copied LL's show format I created the year before. Just a half an hour prior, Russell offered me a record deal and suggested to come out as an East Coast Hammer with a stage full of dancers. Def Jam was already very impressed how I saved LL's career and my impact as image consultant. Don't call it a comeback. I turned Russell's idea down. Although I wanted a record contract, my direction was very different than Def Jam at that time, and they didn't like my own ideas for my career. Plus, I didn't want to compete with style that was mine originally back in 1989. My MC name is The Don. Russell asked me what my 5-year plan was. I responded with Thug Life. He sat confused so briefly, explained my Thug Life theory. Russell didn't like my Thug Life concept. He felt I wasn't believable as a thug because I smiled too much. And everyone knew me as a nice person. Non-threat dancer, he said. Russell thought a dancing motive was better direction for me. I disagreed and dismissed his idea. When they couldn't know if we would perform after Hammer or before, I felt the fans were more important in the Florida show and the ATL show wasn't expecting us. So I took a walk to calm down after the debate and ran into Pac. Happy as always, smiling from ear to ear, he started to drop his latest verse in my ear before I got a chance to speak. The drop was 16 bars of rubbish, rhyming words like never before, with nonsense of direction. I listened with high expectations, but Pac felt short. I tore right into him. With all the frustration, anger, and ignorance I carried built up by my prior conversation with LL and Def Jam executives. Still steaming with rage, I let him know no uncertain terms that this is grown man biz, not a game. Music is everything to me, and I can't have BS in my ears. Screaming in his face like I wanted the whole world to hear and feel my pain, I ripped Pac a new one. In total silence, Pac took all my frustration. I went on to tell him when I'm dancing in the club, I'm usually in the speakers dancing, and I don't like hearing bullshit lyrics. His verse was a freestyle nonsense with no direction or point, just words rhyming. I have heard him rhyming every day since we met, so I asked him why the sudden style changes. Pac said he just got a rhyming dictionary book on the advice of someone in De La Soul Camp. He was sounding like Dulce Effect meets Dr. Seuss or something to that effect. I told him to toss the rhyming book in the trash. He wouldn't need it. I never want to hear you rhyming like nursery Dr. Seuss. Pac then asked what if I can't find a word to rhyme. I told him either make up a word or improvise by changing the punctuation, root, end, and so we can begin the recipe to create great songs. I broke down what qualified to be a verse, style, persona, and content. What I like to hear coming out the speaker, and subject matters, content and style to use. All of this was new to Pac, so I had to give him examples and explain personas. I knew Pac's full range, but this time wanted to expand on his skills, despite the setback with the rhyming book. I told him of the drama I just had with Def Jam / Russell Simmons, and how quick they were to pull rank, then stood to insults to win a disagreement. I told him how Hammer had changed his show format and style in attempts to mimic me. 1989, on my first tour with LL, Walking with the Panther, I wore baggy gold genie pants, designed all my own outfits that were made by Dapper Man. LL had a lot of female dancers on stage, hip-hop Bollywood, and Hammer was so impressed he came to our show twice, then got rid of the tight pants and James Brown image he originally had. He even hired a dancer to mimic me and copy my high cameo hairstyle. Named the dancer after me, No Bones, on account that I danced like I had no bones, and made him put a fake cameo weave in his hair. I later found out from No Bones himself that Hammer instructed him to dance like me, and he was hired because he had knee moves similar to mine. The best form of flattering is copying, so they say, but try to that your landlord. Explaining this to Pac, my rage at this time was off the meter, and Pac took the full brunt of my anger, passion, and growing distaste for this music biz. Walking back to the hotel, I began to calm down, and this was the moment I decided, at this time, not to pursue a career as an MC for many reasons, like because I didn't want anyone to control my life. The Don is my MC name, and I loathe anyone telling me what I could or could not do since I was a child. I was often witness to the record company control over artists I worked with and how they would be restricted and spoken to. Pac suggested we combine our ideas from career moves and songs in a group. I was very reluctant to being exploited any further by the industry, so I suggested at the very least help him reach his goals as the greatest. Pac always inspired to know what he had to do to achieve the title of greatest. He searched his whole life to achieve. Pac was very willing to know what was needed to be done to become a great MC. So I gave him my concepts and ideas to become successful. Spark. This was the beginning of creating Tupac, world's greatest rapper. I shared my scientific recipe on how to be the greatest rapper of all time and how to live it out. I had a list of rules and regulations, but I also wanted to clean up the industry of corny rappers that copied my style, like Hammer, Kwame, Kid and Play. I explained how Kwame copied my blonde patch, been rocking for many years, and the difference since Kwame did ask me for permission. I gave him the secret to getting a lighter shaded and told him to make it a little different than how I was wearing / rocking mine. The meaning besides the blonde patch in the front means I see dead people. Lord of the underworld, Osiris. I had met someone who died, and when she was revised days later, she had a permanent gray streak. The golden boy patch I created to signify my Egyptian heritage was known only to me. I never expected to become an urban hairstyle. I originally started blonde designs in my hair after a trip to Jamaica in 1985. And my first music video I choreographed for Dougie Fresh in 1989 exposed my streak. My 1990, all the dancers from LQ and IOU dancers had copied my blonde designs I started sporting back in 1985. And many were creating their own. As a born trendsetter, I often had a hairstyle copied by other people trying to look hip or urban. Pac was eager to know more. I further explained my Don Mafioso image and career color dates I plan to achieve. As a triple threat MC, I felt more expressions signify a star, MC, long-lasting notoriety, and longevity. Movies, films, television, theater was always a big part of the recipe. For my career, with film scripts, I conceptualized. When I returned to camp, LL informed me I won. They could not convince him, so he passed on ATL show, and we went to Florida with just the dancers and DJ, no band. I didn't see Pac for a few days. As Digital Underground only did spot dates at this time, we were off doing a show in Florida that I had a fight reason against the label, management, and LL, but I won in the end. When I returned to Budweiser camp, I recall Posse and De La Soul crew asking me what I did to Pac. They said he hadn't spoken in 2 days, and I was looking for me. Pac's not talking for 2 minutes was unusual, and everyone wanted to know what I did to him. I wasn't sure what to expect. Often my pep talk landed on deaf ears. I have never known Pac to be quiet for 2 minutes, so 2 days was unexpected. Silence is better than bullshit came from the conversation as I told him, if you have nothing good to say, it's better to say nothing. A quote I shared with Pac was, it's better to be thought a fool than open your mouth and remove all doubt. Often reflected as a silence is better than bullshit. When he found me, he was very excited to drop his new song. He spit a couple verses and waited for my comments, of which I had quite a few. I told him, first, I said, good job on everything, only not so preachy with the lyrics. No one wants to be preached to, I said. The flow needed tighten up. He sounded a bit too old school, and his attitude needed to be more sure/confident. But he got the point, so I was pleased. He took the criticism well and lit up, feeling poised, then ran off to join a water gun battle that was starting backstage. So the journey begins.